So it's come to my attention that someone on this app may be plagiarizing my work.
So in mythology, the villain exists to do one thing, to antagonize the hero's most critical fear.
Villains antagonize fear. Not just any fear, the most critical fear.
I'm starting a 30-day villain challenge for myself for the month of August.
She's not evil, she's the necessary antagonist that forces evolution.
In mythology, villains become the necessary antagonist to the hero's deepest fear.
Their cowardice disguised as virtue.
It's a fear that they mistake as virtue. That the villain antagonizes a fear that the hero mistakes for virtue. The villain shines a light on things that are not virtuous in the hero, but instead are cowardice.
Coward.
This is a fear that most people mistake as wisdom.
The fear that the hero has mistaken for wisdom.
Let me explain. In every story, the hero meets the villain and immediately feels it, like, oh shit, this person is locked in.
For one, the hero meets the villain and sees someone who is locked in. They see someone who's locked the fuck in.
Like dripping with conviction, focus, execution.
They are dripping, oozing with discipline, focus, conviction.
You couldn't pay them to fucking doubt themselves. Like,
Couldn't pay the villain to entertain a doubt.
could you imagine Darth Vader being like, guys,
Imagine Darth Vader doubting himself. Imagine the Joker doubting himself.
Let's talk about it. Third point, and this is the real fear, so let's get a little spicy. If you get out there and your nightmare comes true, the person who stole your work is actually better than you. What is the mature artist to do in that case? Humble yourself. Mature artistry means having the courage to face what you do not do well over and over again. And artistry is not a practice of using your talents to validate yourself. We use our talents to validate other people. So if you are given the chance to review your blind spots and you have the courage to take the L and see it as a gift. Again, this is a huge pillar of my course, The Villain Challenge. So my thesis is that more than this is an invitation to be great. It is an invitation to get yourself out of your own way, because that is what your artistry needs. To enter the spaces God sent you. I want to make one final point about this, and it's the spiciest one yet. For all of us to consider together, is that there also comes a time when an artist has to step into the arena, feet down. Here I am, Lord, send me. The work that you put into the arena came with a pound of flesh. In my case, the material that I put on my content, I damn near bled for. I found it in the silence, in the quiet moments at my mother's funeral, at my best friend's funeral, in profound solitude. I found it with tears in my eyes, helping my clients. Being an artist, being on stage, being an opera singer, etc. I found it. And I put it into a body of work that I believe in. There comes a time when an artist has to step into the arena and defend their work. Is that really true that I don't care? I think this is something that all artists have to face. So what do? A lot of artists, when we find out that someone potentially may have taken our work, something like that. I don't care that much. Well, maybe that's the problem. Oh, I don't care that much. I don't care that much. Well, I don't care that much. Well, maybe that's a problem. It's bothering you. Let it bother you.
Now, one of the most famous moments in jazz history, if you ask me, was the great reading of Kenny G by a man named Pat Metheny. Interesting, my relationship, I always tell this story because I have a personal relationship to Pat Metheny. Pat Metheny is one of the great jazz musicians of the 70s and 80s. Absolute genius, inventing new chords and shit. Let me see if I can play it. So Pat Metheny, he was a client of mine, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So I was at my job. There was this man named Patrick Metheny in my system, and this man walks in, and he was like, "Can I come in?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. What's your name?" And he was like, "Oh, Pat Metheny." And I'm like, "Oh," I'm thinking, I'm like my little dumbass, and I'm like over like on my little computer, I'm like making a little dumbass joke, and I'm looking straight at him. I don't know what he looks like. He was like, I was made a little joke. He came in and I was like, any relation? And he was like, yeah, it's me. And I was like, someone asked his curmudgeonly ass, genius, man, genius. On talk radio, in an interview a couple decades ago, this is in jazz history books, the great read of Kenny G. Oof! The lesson here is, how does the villain talk to the hero? The hero here is Kenny G. Pat, the interviewer asks, can you tell us your opinion on Kenny G? Rage bait. And he's over here talking about, he's just like in his little weirdness. Like, can you tell us what you think about Kenny G? And he was like, yes. And so he's like, Kenny G's not a musician. Kenny G's not a musician I really had much of an opinion about until recently. And when I say he goes for pages and pages and pages, there's not much about the way he played that interested me one way or the other, either live or on records. This is old enough that he calls music records. My impression was that he was someone who'd spent a fair amount of time listening to the more pop-oriented sax players of the time, like Grover Washington or Dave Sanborn, but was not really an advanced player, even in that style. Oh! It's crazy too because Pat Metheny is extraordinarily virtuosic. Extraordinarily. Imagine, I don't know, I'm trying to imagine Shakespeare making a comment about my TikTok. He had major rhythmic problems, and his harmonic and melodic vocabulary was extremely limited, mostly to pentatonic, blues like blah blah blah, and basically exhibited only a rudimentary understanding of how to function as a professional soloist in an ensemble. Lorber was basically playing him off the bandstand in terms of actual music. It doesn't matter. Stepping back for a minute, his saxophone style was in fact clearly a tradition of the kind of playing that most reasonably objective letters would not normally quantify as being jazz. It's just that as jazz, or even as music in general sense, with these standards in mind, it is simply not up to the level of playing that we historically associate with professional improvising musicians. It's just simply not up to the standard. It just isn't. So lately, I have been advocating that we go ahead and just include it under the word jazz. This is very critical. This whole speech, no, he's bad for these reasons, but, and most people don't consider him a jazz musician, but I say include him. So lately, I have been advocating that we go ahead and just include it under the word jazz, since pretty much the rest of the world outside of the jazz community does anyway. So let the chips fall where they may. The great reading of Kenneth G. After all, why should he be exempt from criticism that all the other serious musicians on his instrument are judged by? He should be compared to John Coltrane, for instance, on his abilities or lack thereof, to play the soprano saxophone, and his success or lack thereof at finding a way to deploy that instrument in an ensemble in order to accurately gauge his abilities and put them in context with his instrument's legacy and potential, to put him in within the context of his instrument's legacy. No, I don't. People say he's not jazz. I say include his ass. Because why? Because his instrument has a legacy. Suffice to say, on all above accounts, at this point in his development, he wouldn't fare well. His callous disregard for the larger issues of what this crass gesture implies is exacerbated by the fact that the only reason he possibly had for doing something this inherently wrong on both human and musical terms was for the record sales. Normally, if asked about Kenny G, I will diss him and his music with the same passion that is evidenced in this little essay. This is what he said. Normally, I feel that musicians all have a hard enough time, regardless of their level, just trying to play good and don't really benefit from public criticism, especially from their peers. But, he concludes, there are some things that are sacred. And amongst any musician that has ever attempted to address jazz at even the most basic levels, music is hallowed ground. Now, what do we learn about how the villain talks to us this coming week? Now you're focused on the, oh my God, I'm being read for filth. No, what did he say? No, include him in the conversation. Let him be measured. Because it's not about him or this or that. And I know and I understand that it's hard and it's not good to be criticized. So I'm not going to criticize you, but I'm doing it for jazz. Patrick Metheny cares about jazz. The instrument is sacred. Yeah? You with me? So what's the assignment for the week? Your villain is going to be looking at your creative process. You've been focusing on the lore in the past. Now this lore is going to be on its feet, and your villain is going to look at your creative process. It's going to be looking at your discipline. It's going to look about, brother, is this sacred to you? You're over here pussyfooting around the great launch of the haiku Substack. You can't even write. Is writing sacred to you or not? is the vibe. Does that make sense? So the assignment of the week, in addition to the journal prompts, the journal prompts will help you get there. The assignment is to have your villain write a critique of your process. And then as a follow-up, as the A side, side B of the assignment is for you to tell us what your new process is. Your villain critiques it. So if what would Kenny G say? Okay, shit, what am I going to change? Yeah? Does that make sense? How are we feeling? Now you think your villain's about to tear your ass up. It's going to feel that way. That's not the object. We're not here to hurt ourselves. We're not here to lay in. Your villain is going to tell you the truth. Some of you have these tender little silly little villains. Maybe it's not this whole dramatic speech like the films that we just saw. Maybe it's just like, yeah, I just think you need to be more honest. Maybe it's just simple. Maybe it's just a couple bullet points. Yeah, you think too much before you hit send on the TikTok content that you want to start creating. Don't think about it. Maybe it's simple like that. Doesn't have to resist the tendency to be hard on yourself. Especially if your villain is tired of you being so fucking hard on yourself. You can leave right now if you want, but the next example is my favorite thing ever.
You have my attention.
Okay, thank you. Now, the greatest drag. Now, that was the great jazz drag of the ages. If you ask me, what is the greatest drag in the history of culture in this century, in the last century? What's the greatest of all time? I mean,
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar and Drake. This is the material that put my ass on the map in terms of the internet. Nobody cares about that. But I remember I was like, oh my God, the mythology is unfolding before us as soon as the beef was happening. And my nerd ass was like, oh my God, I have to create discourse. I don't know anything about, I don't know anything about hip hop, not like that. But I'm like, I'm going to try anyway. And I was like, and I created a whole video about like the Hindu mysticism within the beef. And it went viral. And I was like, that's insane. How'd that happen? And here you are 2 years later. So let's get into it. Now, the question is, remember, how did the beef start? How'd the beef start?
Drake and Cole put a song out saying they were biggest Super Bowl top three, and Kendrick said, "No, no, no, there's no top three. It's just me."
Oh, who started it? So
You
the
could say Kendrick.
protagonist, the protagonist here is Drake. The villain of villains is Kendrick. I'm sure there's a way to look about it two ways. But what happened, more or less, at least the lore of it, Drake started it. Remember push-ups? When this started, this a lot of us were like, no, people don't really pay. I don't pay attention to hip hop like that. And then I was like, oh, hold on. There's some activity in the force. I can feel it. Remember this? Wow, wow. Sorry. That's what he sounds like to me. It's a really nice stuff. Sorry. I'm really sorry. But listen.
I could never be nobody number one fan. Your first number one, I had to put it in your hand.
This is good. Like this was coming out and everyone's like, oh, I'm in. Okay. Oh, it's heating up. This is fantastic. Like the beat is like, okay, he's flowing. And then we realized that it was ghost written.
You pussies can't get booked outside America for nan. I'm out in Tokyo because I'm big in Japan.
I'm in Tokyo because I'm big in Japan. He started it. Drake said, let's go, man. Let's settle some things. Let's square up. And that's the thing. That's the thing in hip hop. We square up. Every decade we square up. And we're like, okay, let's settle things. It's an art form. It's a very sophisticated art form. We'd be doing that. And it's great. It's time to have another great beef. I got to get through this. So how did Drake, my point is that Drake started it a little bit. And if you look if you interrogate the lyrics, which my autistic ass did, even though I don't be paying attention to hip hop like that, it's really small faults. He quibbling over his height. You're short. Your relationship. I'm big all over Tokyo. What did he do? In a way that's relevant for our understanding of the villain and how this villain shit hits our creativity. What did he do? He villainized Kendrick from the jump. Drake stepped into the arena of hip hop and said, just like Anne Hathaway's character, I'm the best. Let's go. Let's settle this. Okay. Evoke. Now what happened? My storytelling might be a little bit out of order. So what happened? Kendrick locks in. It's Drake's hubris that summons the villain. Now the real ones are going to know the beginning of this. What's that? Who knows what that is? Woo! Who knows what that is?
Euphoria.
It's a reference to Richard Pryor. It's a reference to The Wiz, the black version of The Wizard of Oz. When the Wizard's a scene from The Wiz, a famous scene, Richard Pryor plays the fraudulent wizard in the great big city. He's a fraud and he's a coward. That's what everyone knows that from The Wizard of Oz if you haven't seen The Wiz. Richard Pryor, Dorothy confronts him and he's like, I'm a coward. Everything you say about me is true. Kendrick sampled that in reverse. That's how it started. What happened? He evoked myth. Ooh, buddy. I don't care how good of a rapper Drake is. I don't care how good that beat is. If you bring out the lore, how do we already know? Because the Beethoven shit, it's going to fit. He evoked, that's a storyteller. How do you win? How do you defeat the lesson? What's the takeaway? How do you get in there? How do you make effective music? You reference what's eternal. The Wizard of Oz in reverse was evoked and we didn't even know it. We're just like, that sounded familiar some type of way. Hours. Remember what we said in week 1? What's the purpose of the adventure? To get the hero to find the supernatural nature of his gifts, his superpowers. Kendrick understood immediately. I'm about to vanquish this. He understands what's at stake. You with me so far? We haven't said it yet. We haven't listened to it. Let's listen a little bit. So we get Euphoria. Fabricating family stories. I can predict you. I can predict your every angle, son. What you'll also notice is that what he did was Euphoria, and then he immediately did. So that was episode 4. And then he immediately followed up. Wasn't it 30 minutes later? 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Is that right? He released the first track, and then 30 minutes, we got Meet the Grams. Imagine Star Wars Episode 4 comes out, and then 30 minutes later, they release Episode 5. You'll be like, oh my God. You see what I'm saying? The villain is like, I'm on your nuts, brother. I'm not playing by your rules. You thought it was your turn. I'm going again. You see what I'm saying? The villain breaks the rules. Now, the next one. This is the one that got everybody feeling a type of way.
Dear Adonis, I'm sorry that
For the jugular. So dark, yes, it's descending. Da, 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 da. It's descending. We're going down that wheel, that hero's wheel. Now what happens? Where does he start? With his son. Hey, Adonis. I'd like to talk to you about your father. Oh, crazy. Rules broken. But deeply in integrity. Hey, son, I want to talk to you about your father. Your father's not a real man, and you deserve that. So I'll do it for you.
that man is your father, let me be honest. It takes a man to be a man, your dad is not responsive. I look at him and wish your grandpa would have wore a condom. I'm sorry that you gotta grow up and then stand behind him. Life is hard, I know. The challenges always go beat us home. Sometimes our parents make mistakes that affect us until we
Sometimes our parents make mistakes that affect us until we're grown. This is mythological. Blasted. But he's being completely respectful. Let's keep going.
keep paper and more paper. I'm blaming you for all this gambling. The him and Weinstein should get fucked up. Women can live with a purpose. I've been in this industry 12 years. I'ma tell y'all one little secret. There's some weird shit going on, and some of these artists be here to police it. They be streamlining victims all inside of their home and calling them tender. Then leak videos of themselves to further push their agendas. To any woman.
What's he doing? High Vision is up there. No, hold on. Drake is talking about himself. I'm selling records. Kendrick's like, what? Who cares? You're in cahoots with pedophiles. So let's talk about it. Yeah?
I mean, they be playing this music, know that you're playing your sister, or better yet, selling your niece to the weirdos, not the good ones. Later, give you some confidence to go through something. It's hope later. It's not your fault that he's hiding another child. Give him grace. This the reason I made Mr. Morale, so our babies like you can cope later. Give you some confidence to go through something. It's hope later. I never want to hear you chasing men, cause it's felt behavior. Sitting in the club with sugar daddies for validation. You need to know that love is eternity and trumps all pain. I tell you who your father is, just play this song when it rains. Yes, he's a hit maker, songwriter, superstar, right? And a fucking dead beat that should never say more life. Meet the Grams. Dear Hybrid, I know you probably thinking I wanted to crash your party, but truthfully I don't have a hating bone in my body. It's supposed to be a
I don't have a hating bone in my body. No, that's not true. He said, I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. Now, but for mythological purposes, in the great confrontation, this was, I don't have a hating bone in my body. This was supposed to be a good exhibition within the game, but you fucked up the minute you chuckled, just like Anne Hathaway. So you with me?
A good exhibition within the game, but you fucked up the moment you called out my family's name. Why you had to stoop so low to discredit some decent people? Guess integrity is lost when the metaphors doesn't reach you. And I like the
Now, I'm in my most autistic moment yet. I guess integrity is lost. That's the objective. Creative maturity, integrity of an artist. I guess integrity, maturity is lost when the metaphor doesn't reach you. What have I been yelling at y'all about? Metaphor, myth, symbol. It's got to reach you. You got to get there. I guess integrity is lost if the metaphor doesn't reach you. He's over his head. He's doing 9-dimensional chess on his behalf. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. You guys, you with me?
I understand, cause your house was never a home. 37, but you showing up as a 7-year-old. You got gambling problems, drinking problems, pill popping and spending problems, bad with money, whorehouse, soliciting women problems. Therapy's a lovely start, but I suggest some ayahuasca. Strip the ego from the bottom.
Strip the ego from the bottom. Strip the ego from the bottom. Imagine this. Imagine someone hands you your art. Here's my art. What do you think? I'm the best. I'm the best. Look at my art. What do you think? I think you should do ayahuasca. Oh. I'm the best because I'm selling records in Tokyo. What have you got? I think you need to do some ayahuasca, son. Comprehensive. Generational. Yeah, you with me? Yes.
I try to empathize with you, cause I know that you ain't been through nothing. Crave entitlement, but wanna be like so bad that it's puzzling. No dominance. Let's recap moments when you didn't fit in. No secret handshakes with your friend. No culture cachet to binge. Just disrespecting your mother. Identities on the fence. Don't know which family will love you. The skin that you living in is compromised and personas. Can't channel your masculine even when standing next to a woman. You a body shamer. You go hide them baby mamas, ain't you? You embarrassed of them. That's not right. That ain't how mama raised us. Take that mask off. I wanna see what's under them achievements. Why believe you? You never gave us nothing to believe in. Cause you lied about religious views. You lied about your surgery. You lied about your accent and your past tense. All is perjury. You lied about your ghostwriters. You lied about your crew members. They all pussy. You lied on them. I know they all got you in them. You lied about your son. You lied about your daughter, huh? You lied about them other kids that's out there hoping that you come. You lied about the only artist that can offer you some help. Fuck a rap battle. This a long life battle with yourself.
Kendrick is
supposed.
the villain.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kendrick is the villain and Drake is the hero. Absolutely. If this is not a battle, son, this is not a rap battle. This is a battle with yourself. And I'm here to show you that.
Yes.
You cannot keep up with my lyricism. You can't do it. So I'm not even gonna, that we're not gonna do, I'm not gonna play the game that you're playing.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you how you are in your own way. Now,
Mhm.
here's the takeaway: mature artistry. How did Drake start? Talking about his motherfucking self. I'm going in to defend myself. Me. I'm a. He didn't. Kendrick didn't talk about himself once. Imagine that going into a battle and you don't feel defensive about anything. Drake started talking about himself. He went into the battle to defend himself, to assert himself. How did Kendrick go into the battle? What was he defending? Drake said,
Artist
you're
integrity.
not like me. I'm famouser. I'm more famous. I have record sales. You ghost ride, but whatever. I mean, that's insane that you would even think that. That you think this art form you think is going to be won because you have record sales? Hip hop was born underground in the first. What are you talking about? This is an art form of mixtapes. What are you talking about? Well, I have record sales. Nobody gives a shit. He came in there thinking about himself. You're not like me, Drake said, but what did Kendrick say? You're not like us. You're not like us. Kendrick went in and won the battle, regardless of what's true and what's not true, because he went into that battle thinking about all of us. Release the copyright on TikTok. Let everybody start making reels and shit about it. TikTok videos. I don't care. Yes, you have more record sales, and I have less because I'm not trying to sell them. I'm here to defend something about my art form. I'm not trying to be liked. I think he was defending the art form. Hip hop has never been better. That was a highlight of my life watching that unfold. I'm
Mine
like, oh
too.
my God, I can't, I watch the reaction videos still. I'm like,
Mine too.
I can't even, it just elevated the game. We haven't had a moment in hip hop ever. And he was like, Kendrick was like, let's stop fucking around. Let's go. And let's address the shit on earth. And then look, he was a little bit ahead of it. And then we got the Diddy stuff. And then we got the Kendrick stuff. He's been talking about it. And then he got DJ Mustard to end it. Oh my God. A popular beat that everyone could access, which is not how Kendrick started. Kendrick's music in the back, in the archive, is academic and dense and hard to understand and conceptual and strange. It's not inaccessible. But he talks about that, wrestling with that. He's like, I know I have a larger mission to get out there. So to answer Lucas's question, sometimes you have to put this large body of work into a fucking collaboration with DJ Mustard to get your point out. Does that make sense?